here we are.
Here we are. Been a long time since I've done the pod from somebody's kitchen that I just met in real life. If you remember,
Atlanta.
Atlanta was the last time. I did it from the dining room at Nick from Atlanta's brother's house. And then, do you guys remember when I did a pod? I don't know if this was pre-CJ. I did a pod for a charity auction in a dining room. A bunch of guys all paid for me to do it down there and rebel shit in the guys' living room, actually. Yeah.
That sounds familiar, but I can't pin a date on it.
Yeah. It was pre-COVID, and everything is either everything so it must have been pre-CJ. Yeah. Everything in my life, I if I'm trying to remember when it happened, the COVID is like the first context I have. Was it before or after COVID?
Did CJ start COVID so he could get on this podcast?
Mm-hmm.
CJ started COVID. There's video
master plan.
Yeah, there's video of CJ with a ski mask on, his backpack. You can tell by the Briggs jacket he's wearing at the lab in China.
In Wuhan.
Leaking. Yep.
Yep. It's all going very according to plan, surprisingly. 5 years in.
Yeah.
Good. As long as there's a plan. I just like a plan.
Right, CJ had a plan.
It makes a difference.
It worked. Yeah.
Sixers for years, no plan, no pandemic. Finally, plan.
Yeah. Didn't work out, though.
No, but not everything works out. You know?
That's a good point. That is a good point. It makes me feel better. Not everything does work out.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
But at least you got to have a plan, not just sort of aimlessly.
Yeah.
Like what's the Charlotte Hornets plan? They don't have one.
Yep.
Couldn't be me.
All right. You want to do this pod? Let's do it. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by Draftkings Sportsbook. Sign up for Draftkings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS, and brought to you by Adam Ksebe, the official realtor of the process. 302-864-8643. We'll get to that in a moment. LL Pavorsky Jewelers, where Rights to Ricky Sanchez listeners go and get engaged. And Surfside iced tea and vodka, 2 grams of sugar, 100 calories, no carbonation because iced tea should not have bubbles. On the show today, conference finals almost set, all but one game. And another team gets to the conference finals before the Sixers. Check that off the box. We start talking trades with the number 3 pick. Talk about your trades, which we will talk about this, but mostly going to ignore because they're all crazy so far. And I asked Mike to evaluate the second half of the top 10 in the lottery, as we pretty much covered the first half last time. Speaking of the lottery and the lottery party, Lottery Party Live Ricky 6 YouTube premiere, thanks to Mortgage CS, will be Monday night at 8 o'clock on the Ricky YouTube. So subscribe to the Ricky YouTube, turn on notifications, and we will premiere that on Monday night. So you'll get to see the insanity during the lottery, the interview with Gershon Yabusele, the interview with Pablo Torre, and Tony T makes an appearance. So that will all be Monday night on the YouTube. There is also some leftover Lottery Party merch, which you can get in the description of this pod. Surfside iced tea and vodka. Speaking of Surfside, Seth had stateside, I think iced tea. Oh, no. Is it Surfside over there? It is. Oh, no. Vodka sodas. He had the stateside vodka sodas here for me. But it's 10 a.m. And while I do really appreciate it, I'm not going to drink them at 10 a.m. Surfside, also a great shore beverage. It's only got 2 grams of sugar. It's only got 100 calories. It doesn't have any carbonation in it because iced tea should not have bubbles. And it comes in a million different varieties now. You have the iced tea and vodka, the iced tea lemonade and vodka, the lemonade and vodka, the mango, the raspberry tea, the peach tea, goes on and on and on and on. They're all great. You should try all of them. You got to be 21, though, and you must enjoy it responsibly. Now, speaking of Ksebe, I am doing the pod from Seth's house in Rehoboth. Seth, we've been talking about doing this pod at his house that he bought through Ksebe for 4 years now. 4 years. One of the first, if not the first, Ksebe Delaware Beach client. We'll get to that in a moment. But here I am. I said I would do the pod from his house if he bought a house with Ksebe, and I'm in the house, and it's beautiful. We will hear about that later. Without any further ado, Amos and the chef.
We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Forever.
Welcome to the Rights To Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy. If we do the podcast a few more years, he might make the conference finals before the Sixers. That is one, Mike Levin.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I beat the Sixers in the second round.
Yep.
What a fucking stab in the back that would be.
Yeah, everybody else has. Well, you'd have no choice but to coach your way through it or play your way through it if given the option.
You're right.
So all but one series in the NBA playoffs is set and leading to the conference finals. And another team that gets to the conference finals during the process era before the Sixers. And that is sadly for me. And I know you hated this. You hate the Celtics more than the Knicks. I do not. I hate the Knicks more. But the Knicks make the conference finals before the Celtics do. Very sad moment for me because I hate Knicks fans so much, but a sad moment for all of us as another team starts a rebuild 3 years ago or whatever, or 4 years ago, and ends up in the conference finals before the Sixers. Very sad moment in that way.
I mean, Celtics went down like chumps, dude.
They
Just
did.
fucking went down. I mean, they went down very similar to the Sixers went down to the Celtics a few years ago on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Just absolutely embarrassed.
Without their best player.
Sure, but like how many playoffs have the Sixers gone down with Embiid like hobbled and not looking right, and people clown the Sixers for that?
Nah, playing though. At least playing.
Sure.
Like,
sure, playing.
you know, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's hard to do. It's hard to be in the playoffs as many times as the Sixers have and not to win 2 rounds in the East by accident. And the Pacers have now done it twice in the last few years, two in a row.
Yep.
Now the Knicks, getting that monkey off their back. It's just the Hornets and the Wizards, and also the Pelicans, who didn't exist when the Sixers last made the conference finals. So
the Pelicans didn't even exist.
Not
it is funny to
ideal.
think about. Yeah. No,
not
ideal.
ideal. And I know Daryl would say it doesn't matter. No, you're not going to care about anything until they win a championship. And I just want to say I'd care a little.
Yep.
Be nice to win 2 rounds. Be nice to beat a good team in the playoffs. They never have. So
do you see Knicks fans celebrating in the streets just getting to the conference finals? They obviously care.
yeah, this exists. Like I will say, I mean, like when hopefully they lose to the Pacers, I would like that very much.
I would too.
But I do think like Pacers Knicks is going to be a fun, like, you know, late 90s style series. I hope Halliburton does the Reggie Miller choke gesture at everybody. But they're having a good time. These are memories. We want positive memories. Give them to us.
Just one slightly more positive than any other one we've had. Our most positive memory shouldn't be at Xfinity Live in Franklin Music Hall.
Yep.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I appreciate both of those events. I love our community. I love the fact that I'm doing the pod in somebody in our community's house right now. I love that we all come together for those moments. I don't like that they are the best Sixers memories of the last 12 years. Do you know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be getting a good draft pick. That shouldn't be the best memory.
Yeah. It wouldn't even, and again, it's not even getting the player. It is getting the draft pick.
Yes.
The best moments of unbridled joy. Getting number 1 in the Simmons draft, 2016.
Yep.
At Xfinity Live.
Yep.
Getting number 3.
The swap.
I was going to say just now.
Keeping
the pick.
Okay. Yeah.
Keeping the pick just now, and then when the pick swapped.
Yep. Those are the 3 best.
In the satisfying way.
Yep.
1 year later in 2017.
Yeah.
So those are the 3 ones. You could say like, oh, like Joel Embiid Airplane, when Joel had the game winner against Toronto, both of those moments in Toronto.
It's not even close. I'm
But,
sorry.
like,
Yeah.
They ended up losing that series.
Yeah.
The first one, the airplane one. So all others don't exist. I mean, Bellinelli confetti game, funny,
but not a great moment.
Yeah.
TJ's game winner against the Knicks. These are all fun things, but like they are.
Yeah, but it's got to be a playoff moment. You can't just say regular
It has
season.
to be a playoff moment. Yeah. And let me just say here, my last thing on Knick fans is that famous Knick fans have main character syndrome more than any fan, I think, in all of sports. I think they think because they sit close, they're on the team. I noticed this. I've always noticed it a little bit, like Turtle from Entourage, main character syndrome. I noticed it more the other day when Jason Tatum got hurt and Ben Stiller tweeted about it like he was on the other team, like how crushed he was and what a good person Jason Tatum is. Like everybody was waiting for Ben Stiller's like comment on Jason Tatum.
I gotta make a press release.
Yeah.
Running it through my publicist.
Yeah, everyone has to know that even though I cheer for the Knicks, I'm very sad for Jason Tatum.
Yeah,
and then last night, Tim Chalamet, who I have nothing against, I just like, and I know, and as I was formulating this on my drive down to Rehoboth in my mind, I know that we will be accused of having main character syndrome, which we do, but also, just to be honest, in this era of Sixers basketball, kind of main characters. Like you could write the book about the Knicks of the last 5 years without Ben Stiller. Very difficult to write the book about the Sixers about us without us over the last 12 years. So do we have main character syndrome? Maybe, but also kind of a main character. Ben Stiller's not a main character in this. Tim Chalamet isn't. I hate them. I hope they lose to the Pacers. Like very badly. I hope they lose to the Pacers.
Such a funny reason to call out. Such a funny way to call out someone for having main character syndrome. It's like, 'cause we have it, but we're right about it.
Well, we are main characters. So we got an email from Chad. We actually got this a few weeks ago. So I eliminated some of the options because some of our options have been there. Chad from KC writes to Ricky Sanchez at gmail.com. Listening to you talk about TJ on the last pod got me thinking about the former Sixers who could win a ring this season and which one I'd like to see get close. So here is who is left. And I want your judgment as who you'd like to see win the ring the most.
Yeah.
The Thunder, we have Isaiah Joe. The Nuggets, we have Dario. The Knicks, we have Landry Shamet and PJ Tucker. And the Pacers, we have TJ McConnell and Tony Bradley. So I think it's pretty obvious. I'd rather see TJ win than any of these other guys. Is that you have the same ranking? I see?
Yeah, I mean, TJ also has the biggest role on the Pacers. I would say Isaiah Joe probably second because he also has a big role. Dario, that doesn't play really. Landry Shamet was here for a minute and a half. PJ doesn't play. Yeah. Yes. TJ would be very fun. It would be very satisfying because of he was, the first guest on a live show and played his ass off here and was felt here for a long time. Dario would have been cool if he was in the rotation. Isaiah Joe would be cool in the sense of I will
shove it in
rub it. Yeah, shove it in Daryl's face.
Yeah. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast brought to you by Adam Ksebe, the official realtor of the process. Seth, come over here. I'm actually going to make this so you can hear Mike. Hold on. Go ahead, Mike. Talk.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there he goes. So there he is.
Hey, pal. Nice kitchen.
Thanks.
Yeah. So Seth bought a house from Ksebe in Rehoboth 4 years ago.
Wow.
It's beautiful. I'm pretty jealous. How many bedrooms? You got 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms?
3 plus a loft.
3 plus the loft.
3 plus a loft.
How was the experience with Ksebe? Give him a good review.
Oh, it was great. We wouldn't have this house without him. We actually gave up our real estate hunt, and then he found this out of the woodwork and then cut a great deal and helped us with commission, et cetera. So,
wow.
Yeah, wonderful work. He's
Look at
also,
that.
Yeah.
he brought his brother in here to fix an HVAC problem. He picked up a piece of art from the store down the street for me.
Whoa.
He sold some stuff on Craigslist and met up a person and took the cash. I mean, he's a jack of all trades.
How about that?
Yeah, how about it? And by the way, Seth also said, remember we were talking a couple pods ago about what would we rather have, a championship but the pod goes away, like everything from the pod. Seth makes the point, if there's no pod, he probably doesn't even have this house in Rehoboth.
That's so
Yours-
nice.
yours-
I would rather have the championship than Spike have than Seth have this house. I just want to be clear about that. There's nothing against Seth or the house. I'd rather have the championship.
You're gonna have to fight my daughter.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. We'll have a conversation.
Yeah, Mike versus Seth's daughter. So if you would like the Ksebe experience, 302-864-8643 is a cell. It's not just Rehoboth, by the way. It is any of the Delaware beaches. It is Lewis or Bethany Beach. That is where he's based out of at his team at Long and Foster. It is Dewey, if you're one of those kids that loves Dewey. Cannot do Dewey personally, too old for Dewey, but if you're a Dewey guy, could do that as well. And right now, and I asked Seth if it's still this crazy down here trying to get a house. It is as crazy, maybe crazier than it's ever been because there's not a lot of them. So you need a realtor who will not only find you the house, help you get the house, then sell stuff on Craigslist for you, get you a piece of art, maybe has a brother who does HVAC stuff. So again, Adam at processrealtor.com. That Adam at processrealtor.com. Adam Ksebe, the official realtor of the Process in Seth's kitchen.
Great job, Seth.
If I'm ever going to stay somewhere, I'm going to reserve the loft, if I need a place that happens to be somebody renting it out. Yep. So there it is. Adam Ksebe, the official realtor of the Process. All right. Got to switch the audio back now to pro audio as we are pros. There we go. So what next? Let me check. A little distracted. Oh, non-basketball question. When you go to a live sporting event, what is your preferred place to sit? Front row is cool, I guess, but maybe not the best viewing experience. I've never rung the bell though, so I wouldn't know. Do you have a preferred place in an arena to sit for basketball?
For basketball, yeah. I mean, it was cool sitting on the court behind the basket to ring the bell. I did get that loose ball, so that was cool.
Yep.
But mid court is the right place to watch a basketball game as best you can. I sat there for not on the court, but at a Memphis Grizzlies game when I was at when we were shooting Young Rock there.
You mean mid court on the court, or do you mean mid court?
I sat I don't know, a few rows up. Somebody hooked it up. It was a very nice situation. I was like, oh, that's probably 3 or 4 rows back. That was cool. Summer League. I've been, you get down there. That's a good spot to watch it, but there's not that many. As long as you're relatively, I like watching games live. I don't like watching football games live. I don't think that's an entertainment experience.
When you say live, you mean in person? Yeah.
And a baseball game, I don't think there's a bad seat at a good baseball stadium.
Yeah, I don't like being there for football either. I think there's just too much that you miss.
Yeah.
Why isn't that guy in? And too much you don't see. For basketball and hockey, if you happen to go to hockey, this is where I had my season tickets for the Sixers, was first row, second level, center court. I think you see everything and nobody stands up in front of you and more leg room. Like if that seat is available, that's my first one. I have sat on the court before. It's pretty cool. There's a lot you don't see.
Yeah.
I feel like, unfortunately, because it's a very good experience. I don't know if it's a great place to see the entire game. By the way, Ksebe just showed up. Come over here and just stand behind me so everyone can see that you actually exist for a second. There he is. Adam Ksebe. I saw a smiling face the entire live pod. He was sitting right. You were in front row.
Mm-hmm.
Front row, Ricky VIP.
It's the best place to watch a podcast, front row.
Yeah, it's definitely the best place to watch a podcast.
I just want to say, back to before we close out on the Knicks, they fucking went for it, dude. They go and get Mikal Bridges. They spend a fuckload to get him, and when you get to the conference finals, it works out. You did it. They take a big swing on a cat trade. It's the stuff that the Knicks did is very Sixers 2018, 2019 with getting Tobias and Jimmy, and sometimes that shit works and it just coalesces and comes together and you have a core base of a couple players and you add some to it and it just it happens right away. And they, good for them. It should have happened for us, and it would have happened for us if weird magnets and a non-travel call in Toronto would have intervened.
Yeah, I also think it shows the difference between the very, very thin line between the big swing working and the big swing not working.
Totally.
Like there's a world in which you trade 5 firsts and 2 swaps or whatever for Mikal Bridges, and they just lose to the Celtics. Like they didn't, of course, but there is a world in which that happens. And then all of a sudden, the Cat trade, I think, is actually remarkably defensible because I wouldn't have just done the Julius Randle thing again, is whatever. But you could look at all of these things that they did, but they looked and they said, well, Jalen Brunson is really good right now.
Yeah.
We made the OG Anunoby trade. And by the way, you could also say, if this doesn't work, you're paying OG Anunoby $42 million a year. That doesn't make any sense. But it just shows that when the opportunity is there, you go for it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But when it works, you look brilliant. You know?
Yeah, and I would just add, as far as Boston goes, like obviously Tatum tears his Achilles. He's out for most, if not all, of next year. Who knows what kind of player he's going to be when he gets back. Obviously, they won a championship last year, so as far as like, you know, what could have been like, but every single year this happens. Every year this happens. The team that won the championship last year, people go, well, they're going to probably be there for the next several years. Like, that's a dynasty waiting to happen. Nobody can stop them. It is what it is. Happened with Denver, happened with Milwaukee, happened with Boston. You can keep going back.
You've said this a bunch, and you're right. Yeah.
Every single year, it ends so quick. It ends so fast. And now, even before the Achilles, well, obviously the Achilles like makes it more serious. But then they go, people are like, well, they would have had to pay people now, and that just ramps it up. And now you're having to like the discussions of, do you trade Jaylen Brown? Do you trade Derek White? Do you just start a rebuild because of that? And it's like, man, it happens so fucking fast every single time. Everyone thinks it's a near certainty that this team is going to be there. And then they lose or they have a rough season. It's really hard to get out of the – it's hard to not only repeat, which no NBA team has done for the last, 8-9 years, but also to just get through the playoffs again, to get to a chance where you can. It is – the amount of basketball you have to play, the amount of wear and tear on your body going through an 82-game season plus playoffs and then doing it all over again and then having to get to the playoffs again to get to the conference finals. It is really a lot of movement on your body that didn't used to be the case, right? Like basketball is played like way, way, way faster. There's so much more running involved, like as far as mileage on your legs and knees and ankles and everything than there were in the 80s and 90s. And that's why you're seeing a lot more injuries, because these guys are just like, there's so much wear and tear on their bodies. And there's a lot of people in the playoffs that are hurt because of just like those kinds of injuries. Guys are tearing their Achilles when they're younger. It sucks. But like when you have the opportunity to go for it, I think you fucking go for it. That's why I'm not to pivot, but like the Spurs should be going for it right now. They should not be waiting around.
Would you trade Maxey and 3 for Jason Tatum?
Right now?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No.
Would you trade Embiid and 3 for Jason Tatum?
I mean, I don't know. I don't like this question.
We won't clip it.
I don't like this question.
We won't clip it.
This question makes me upset. It's too early to answer this question. Get out of here. Fuck you.
Okay.
Would you
Get
do it?
out of here. Fuck you. What's
making me sad. Yeah, I mean, that's such a bummer of a, he tears his Achilles. No, I know. I'm not saying it's a rude question. I'm upset thinking about it. But the idea that, trading for a player who will certainly be out for a year and might not be the same player when he gets back.
Yeah, well.
Plus the 3rd overall pick.
Yeah.
With a guy who we have built a lot of, love and everything.
I know.
And energy in.
Yeah.
The fact, at least Embiid has not had, knock on wood, he hasn't had, aside from his first 2 years, the he's done injury. He's just had a bunch of like a surreal amount of medium ones. I don't know. I don't think I would do it. I don't think I would do it.
All right. Just some stuff out here in Sixers world. First, big news. Jared McCain is finally merchandising. That's right. Jared McCain has his own nail polish line. He made the announcement on his TikTok the other day. Here is the announcement.
Hello, everyone. I am so excited to announce something I've been working on for a very long time now. I went to the lab and I actually created my own nail polish collection with Sally Hansen. It's crazy to even think that when I first started painting my nails that I'd be here with my own collection the colors that I made. Let's get into the colors and let me show you everything that I created. Obviously with the help of the Sally Hansen scientist. This collection is called MVP and it stands for Most
Give him the
Valuable
lab
Polish.
coat.
First up, we have Bucket Blue. Literally says my name on the bottle. Got a little shimmer in it. I always like bright colors. And so when I was creating this, I wanted to make sure everything was bright, but also wearable. We're always striving to be the greatest we can be. For gold, it is called Goat Gold. We have Net Neutral. Now, I wanted to make sure there was something in this collection that was tame, calm, can wear it all the time. And I think Net Neutral, it's like a little bit of off-white. Got Point Guard Pink. Now this one, this shade, it's not, I didn't want to go with like a super bright pink, more like a bubblegum type vibe. This is called Rookie Red. So I think it's such a good nod to my life, to where I'm at now. I'm just blessed. I'm super honored that Sally let me do this and I was able to go create it and actually put my own creativity into this project. This is the
Hell
trio.
yeah, dude.
This is the trio pack it comes with. You get the 5 colors, get the top coat. I'm blessed and honored. Thank you, Sally Hansen, for letting me do this.
The lab coat is incredible. Now he was
I
wearing
could-
bucket
I could
blue
watch-
at the lottery. That
Yes, he was.
that was definitely like that was definitely like sponsored content or
100%.
whatever.
Yeah, fuck yeah. I mean, the
yeah.
lottery becoming the lottery representative and getting to, that's a soft launch for his brand. That's sick. Love the images of him in a lab coat. He should honestly wear a lab coat on the court. Like he should be allowed to do that.
He should be the professor or something that always wears a lab coat.
Unreal. Good for him. He should, obviously, this was a long time coming, I'm sure. So like it was destined. And by the way, at the lottery party, I did a thing where I tried all of our lost lovers brands.
Yeah, we actually have a voicemail about that, but go ahead. Yeah.
So you'll see that when the lottery airs on this Monday night. And so I guess next edition of that, I will be, in a few years when Jared McCain doesn't work out, I will be putting on his nail polish at the lottery party. So looking forward to that.
There you go. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. That will be a funny moment, actually. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast brought to you by Draftkings Sportsbook, presented by Draftkings Sportsbook. Now, before we get to the NBA with Draftkings Sportsbook, the NFL schedule came out. The Eagles and Draftkings already has lines on week 1. Eagles are a 7-point home favorite against the Cowboys in week 1. Mike, you got a pick there? Eagles Cowboys week 1?
There's not a chance I'm picking against the Birds at any point this season.
Okay,
Let's go.
No games.
Well, unless they have like a season from hell like the other year.
Right.
But that was an accident. Everything about that was an accident.
So Knicks are now DraftKings is an official sports betting partner of the NBA. You could bet all this at DraftKings. If you're new, use code RTRS. Bet $5. If your bet hits, you get $300 in bonus bets. Knicks are a -140 favorite in that series against the Pacers. What do you see there? What's your gut?
I mean, the Pacers look really good, dude. Pacers look really good.
I said it earlier this week. You know, people talk about them being like the proof that them being in the conference finals 2 straight years is proof that the East isn't good. But like maybe it's just proof that they're actually good. You know what I mean?
Some of those, yeah.
Yep. You know. So Knicks -140. Who do you like?
I'm probably going to be betting the Pacers.
Pacers are +120.
I just won some money on the Knicks, so I appreciate them. Thank you so much. But yeah, I think it's a Pacers for me.
The Thunder are +135 to win the title at DraftKings. Knicks +360. Timberwolves +425. And the Pacers +550 and Nuggets +900. And the Nuggets, I think, are 8-point dogs. Now this is coming out. I know a lot of people will listen to this on Monday, but this is coming out before that. Who do you like? Game 7, Thunder, Nuggets tomorrow.
I really want it to be the Thunder. I desperetely want it to be the Thunder. I will be
for
very
the sake of the regular season, or
for that, and because I also think I love Shea. I love the team that they built. Like they're sick, and so I definitely not an unbiased and unvarnished opinion. This is a confirming my priors. I will be picking the Thunder, 100%. If the Nuggets win this game, I'll be like really very upset. I think more upset than I should be in a non-Sixers playoff.
You're not supposed to be happy or upset or anything. You're only supposed to be interested.
You're right.
You're supposed to be
You're
taking
right.
a break, buddy.
You're
Take
right.
a break.
I got to be wearing my Fitbit.
Yeah, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code RTRS. That is code RTRS. New customers get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. I mean, you bet just $5. Only at DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Got to be 21. See show notes for details. So to pivot into the draft here, Paul George did his first podcast P in a while. Thank God he's back. As he mentioned, he did it for the people and talked about the.
You got to give back to the people and give them these kinds of takes.
Yeah.
That's what they're dying for. They have no other sustenance.
Yeah, and I would say that everyone interested in Paul George right now, if they have a choice, whether he just shuts the fuck up and plays good or does his podcast, it's really close. I know there were probably thousands of people being like, when will Podcast P come back? When will Podcast P come back? I'm so dying to hear from him. As you'll see when you watch the lottery party and Live Ricky 6, every time they showed him on the screen, the crowd went wild. They love him. Here's what he said about Ace Bailey and Cooper Flagg.
If you had the number one pick, who are you going with?
I would probably go Ace Bailey. I think Ace Bailey is a little bit more raw talent. I think Cooper Flagg, not to say he doesn't have upside. He has amazing upside as well. But I think Ace Bailey has a little bit more upside to him. He's been putting up big numbers, playing super efficient. I think both will be all-stars. Both will be superstars. But if I was second, I'll be happy that Cooper Flagg fell to me too.
I agree.
No
So
shit.
you can't go wrong. Both of those guys are really good, but that's what I'm taking with the first.
Your thoughts on Paul?
You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong.
Yep.
Yes, you can.
Yep.
Paul.
Yeah, you might be good evidence of that, actually.
There's such a. This is like. He hasn't watched them much. Like, he's just saying shit, and that's why, like, anytime athletes do this thing where they're like, journalists or media people, like, they haven't played, like, they don't know, and they should just like shut up unless they've played, and their opinion holds no value unless they have. And it's like, Paul George just called Ace Bailey more efficient. It's like, dog, no, he's not. He's putting up trash numbers. His percentages are dog shit. But you're not looking at that because you don't care. You're just saying shit. It is so annoying. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's perfectly Paul George for him to be just have like the objectively wrong opinion and just be like, this is actually going to be good for, people are going to click on this and see that I'm a dumb fuck. I don't actually have any smart thing to say right here. Like, come on, man. Just you don't need to do it. You don't need to do it. Cooper Flagg is like, you could say he's not going to be a number one type option in the NBA.
That's fair.
You can say like he's going to be like an ideal number two, Scottie Pippen style, whatever. But like, Ace Bailey is so much further. There's nothing that Ace Bailey does better than Cooper Flagg at this point. There's just nothing. It doesn't
shoot open threes. Shoot open threes, probably.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe that's the one. And last thing on current Sixers, the Sixers put out this nice little video. We saw the Jared McCain nice little video in the lab coat, and here's a nice little video of Tyrese Maxey and Justin Edwards working out together in the offseason, which we love to see. This was posted on the Sixers social accounts.
We're out here in Dallas, Texas, home of Tyrese Maxey, birthplace, where I'm from. We're out getting some work in. Justin was really good for us last year. He showed a lot of upside, and I think he'll be a very key piece of our future. But now it's time to keep working and make that next step. So I just wanted him to come out here and see what I do, get some work in with him.
It was really good, actually. He expects a lot from me this upcoming season, so just to be able to get work in with him means a lot. Just learning, that's probably the biggest thing, learning someone that I could talk to when I need help learning something. He's really consistent with his work, and that's something that I'm trying to work on. A little bit of everything, honestly. Getting a more consistent jump shot, changing my body, and I feel like just getting back to my old self, like being more explosive around the rim. So that's really the biggest things I'm working on right now. A lot of stuff that we do in our workouts is like game situations, like pushing off Reggie or teammate, just to try to get like game-like actions.
What would you rank Tyrese as a vet?
As a vet, he said 10. He's really positive, he's outgoing. He welcomes me with open arms.
So it's good seeing. It's good seeing Justin Edwards working out with Maxey, because I think Justin Edwards is actually going to be probably more important than people think next year. I think he's like definitely rotation guy, and he showed that last year. But the best thing, obviously, here is seeing Tyrese Maxey taking young players under his wing and being a leader. And we need very badly, we've expressed the disappointment in Embiid's leadership. Obviously, Paul George is very, very busy giving back to the people in other ways. But seeing Tyrese Maxey like take a rookie or second-year player out and work out with him, I thought was cool.
I love it. It's very sweet. It's Justin Edwards saying all the right things. I would love if he was more explosive around the rim. That sounds great. Work on those catch and shoot threes. Keep going. Playing at game speed. Awesome. It was great. He had a really nice, especially for an undrafted player, had a really nice rookie season. I think him being a rotation player next year, he's got the body. He's got just a classic, big body, do the right things, makes quick decisions. I would love to see him in a real offense with the Sixers with everybody healthy. That'd be great. Paul George should move to Dallas and work with Tyrese Maxey. And Tyrese should show him a little bit of that as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Just show him a little bit of how to work hard and play hard. You don't need to be grinding Ace Bailey tape in a podcast studio. You don't need to do it. If you want to be a front office guy after this, do that. Honestly, go, shadow Elton Brand. Go intern for Elton if that's what you're interested in. But you don't need to be firing off these takes, man. It's just not. That's not that interesting. Part of what we talked about after the season ended was it would be great if Maxey, Paul George, and Joel Embiid got together over the summer and just worked out, played, discussed, got on the same page, whatever. Now Joel's still recovering from his.
How about just Maxey and Justin Edwards and podcast?
That's close. That's so close. Yeah. It's so close. It's funny. It's very easy to clown on Paul George. We saw it from different teams before he came to the Sixers, and now living through it, it is just incredibly easy to do. Yeah. But right. I do think he's going to have a better season, and if everybody's healthy, I think it will go relatively well. Obviously, he's not going to be a 25 points a game guy anymore, but they should be together. I think Embiid is probably still recovering from his injury, and maybe this happens closer to July, August, or whatever, but. Maxey doing all the right things. Had a bad year last year. Everybody did. We need these kinds of things. We need this kind of cohesion because we didn't get any last year.
As I mentioned, Monday night live Ricky 6 and Lottery Party will be on the Ricky YouTube, 8:00. We will debut it thanks to Mortgage CS. CJ, do you have the voicemail about Mike potentially big timing me that we'll be able to find the answer to when we finally unload the video? We got this voicemail to 833 Lickface.
Hi, Spike, Mike, CJ, and Daryl. It's Adam calling up here from Toronto. I was watching some clips on Instagram of people that were at the lottery party, and I was wondering if Spike was trying to high-five Mike when the results went out, and it looked like Mike might have big-timed him. Can you please let me know what the process was like there, and if either of you actually big-timed one another? Thanks.
Mike, did you big-time me? I mean, we will have the video proof on Monday.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not consciously. What the process of big-timing you is like. That's a good question. So big-timing Spike, no, it's I think I might have gone right for Professor Jack first, which maybe is the thing he's thinking of. But I would have hugged anybody. It was all blind elation.
Yeah. And we also got another question, and we won't find this out in the video, but in the video you see Mike did a bit called Remorse Armageddon, where he sort of apologized to all the people who left, Tobias, James Harden. But you did eat a crumble cookie. Mm-hmm. You did drink James Harden wine. Was there anything else you consumed?
Yeah, it was Jimmy Butler coffee.
Oh, Jimmy Butler coffee.
It was Al Horford's chocolate milk.
Yes. Somebody asked about your tummy afterwards. Yeah. Did you have any tummy issues after that? Because you're famous for your tummy issues.
I was expecting I would. Okay. And as it, I did the order, or I did okay, here's what makes sense for sort of building into each other, right? Where it's okay, Jimmy's the first one, and then you build into it to be who it's going to get worse as it goes on of people I have to apologize to. And then I saw what each product would be, and it was very liquid heavy up top.
Yeah.
And I was oh, that's actually not ideal.
And dairy.
But yeah. But it was okay. I think the energy of the night kept me through it. I was good. I was fine. Yeah.
The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast brought to you by LL Pavorsky Jewelers. Look, you're going to get engaged. And look, no, I was going to make a promise to do the pod in your house if you got engaged. But I have married a couple. LL Pavorsky couple. Have done that as well. If you're going to get engaged, LL Pavorsky is the guy you have to go to. Got to go to Lee. And 446, I think, Rights to Ricky Sanchez listeners have gotten engaged with LL Pavorsky rings. And if we get to 500, Mike, are you putting out the watch them have intercourse thing that you had?
We'll have a conversation about it. We'll have a discussion. It'll start as an email. And if the email goes well, maybe we get on the phone and talk about it.
Okay.
I'm not having sex with them. And
no, you won't.
You got to really want it. You got to really want it. And you got to earn it, is what it is. But being the 500th is a good step. It's a good start.
Yeah, it should mean something. He's been at 707 Walnut for more than 3 decades. And look, the people proudly, when you meet people at the Lottery Party Ricky events and they're married and they've gone to LL, they identify themselves by their number, which is also very cool. Hey, I'm number 336 or something like that. He's going to, like, the way that he sells it is very little pressure, takes time with you. That's why he does the appointment thing, is so he doesn't get distracted by other people walking into the store, wants to make sure it's one-on-one. So if you want to buy an engagement ring from Lee, which is the only person you're allowed to buy it from, make an appointment, 215-627-2252. Email him, lee@llpavorsky.com. Supports our charities, Mama T's Community Fridge and Providence Animal Center. LL Pavorsky Jewelers.
Nothing against Ace Bailey. I would take LL Pavorsky number 1.
Oh, there you go. Now, speaking of who they should take, we got this email from Adam, Rights to Ricky Sanchez @gmail.com. Dear Spike, Mike, and CJ, I think we Sixers fans should get a say in who the 3 pick is. Daryl should tweet out a poll with 4 to 5 options, maybe more if needed, and let the fans have a say. If not, it may not affect them, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't know. This front office and Adam Silver have put us through some grueling years. We have earned the right to let our voices be heard by the individuals who run this organization. We were here long before them and we'll be here long after. Curious on your thoughts and take however you want. What do you think?
I think this is. I think I do. I think this is it.
Yes.
You're hearing it. Daryl picked. Colangelo picked Korkmaz and Luau, who Yabusele mentioned at the lottery party, by the way. Cool to have a TLC reference.
He did mention TLC. Yep.
And so I think we've been pandered to just the right amount, I think. Except for the winning, we've been pandered to just the right amount.
Yeah, I would say so. And I would actually, we're not a pro Brian Colangelo podcast, but I actually do think taking TLC and Korkmaz just to make us happy was a step too far. 2 first-round picks, like, they were very weird picks for us to like very much before the draft. It was very obvious what they were doing. It was a little too far. We got this email. So we have talked a bunch about the possibility of trading the pick. And I think the more and more I hear, I think about how, and you've mentioned this on the last pod, think about how Morey talks about it, how Nick Nurse has talked about it, how excited they are to pick at 3. The more likely it seems to me, and when I watch more of the prospects and read more about the prospects, the more likely it seems they will make a trade. We got this email from Shield, and Shield says, I don't think the Sixers will have the option of trading the pick for a good player because of the Sixers salary situation. I think they need this rookie contract. Definitely could trade back or trade for future picks, but I don't think it can be for a good player unless they're unloading PG with it. And it's unlikely that we get a good return given PG's contract age and play last season. So that's probably not an option. I don't want to see Maxey going anywhere else, but is there a trade in which you would trade Maxey and the number 3 pick? It seems like that's not a great option, as trading away 2 young building blocks from the Sixers. Is Morey just desperate enough to go all in on a win-now trade? Is he looking at getting a championship and then leaving the NBA and riding off into the sunset? So less about Maxey, I guess, and more that I wanted to get your sense of how likely using number 3 specifically for win-now purposes would be for Morey at this point.
I think very unlikely. The idea that you would trade 3 and Maxey for someone. I mean, trading Maxey does not constitute a win now move. That is just like, cutting off your nose to spite your face. That one.
Yeah. Yep.
And they just need good players and they need continuity. And so trading Maxey, I think, would be detrimental to that. I'm not saying that in the future, a Maxey McCain, they'll have to make some decision on that, but I wouldn't do it now. I think they're in an interesting place where they can get somebody that could help now, get somebody that could help in the future, see what the season is like. You can't make like drastic win now moves when you don't know what Joel and Paul George are going to look like. You just can't. You can't do that. The East is open, so I don't think you can. I'm not like dying to punt, but I don't think you can sacrifice the future to win now. So I think that like the middle path is seemingly the right one for me. That's why I like a trade down to like somewhere in the 6 to 10 range, pick up a player that could be really helpful, and then also get a rookie that you would have under team control, have a chance at, high upside building block type player. So the main trade down options, the easiest ones, I'm constantly texting with Sixers Adam about this, are trading down with Brooklyn and picking up Cam Johnson, trading down with New Orleans and picking up Herb Jones, trading down with Houston and picking up probably either Tari Eason or Jabari Smith.
We'll talk about the Cam Johnson thing in a second. I have trouble. I guess we just have to figure out what we think it's worth for teams like that to jump, because I don't get the sense the Nets are excited about some long rebuild, and so the odds of them moving up to take Ace Bailey to get rid of a player who's good right this second seems unlikely to me.
Oh, I disagree. I think the Nets are maybe the most likely team to do it because they don't have a number one option, and if they feel like there is one at 3 that they would go, we need to start. Maybe it's ill-advised. I wouldn't do it. This is me. I don't think that there's someone at 3 that. Here, my opinion generally at 3 is like 1 and 2. I feel really, really good about my evaluation, about everybody's evaluation of those 2 guys, of Flagg and Harper. After that, I think I have humility about the fact that none of these guys stand out to me as like, oh, that's a guy that you just stick and pick. So in the spirit of paying a first rounder less, picking up another asset, and maybe an additional first round pick or a later something, like getting more bites at the apple. That to me is like an exercise in going, I really don't know from 3 to 8 which of these guys is legitimate. I think Ace Bailey, my evaluation is Ace Bailey did not have a good season at Rutgers, doesn't have a quick first step, didn't actually, as a guy that is like known as a shooter, didn't shoot well. The defense is okay. The body's okay, 6'7.5". So not like unnaturally long for that kind of player. If he was, then that would be a different story.
Also not unnaturally athletic. Good athlete. Yeah.
Good athlete. Positive.
Yeah.
And so, but obviously there's a chance that like it all comes together for him and he becomes like the kind of prototypical big-ish wing that does everything on the court. I don't like that he has, didn't show passing vision, turned the ball over too much, can't really dribble that much. Like, I don't see it. But he's raw, and those guys develop. And it's hard to know, you can't predict it. So I would go, I don't want to be in a position to pick someone so there's so many ifs. And so I would rather trade down, pay that person, pay that contract less, and get another player who I know is good, like the guys I listed before, Cam Johnson, Tari Eason, Herb Jones, that could help now, while also going, okay, but then we drafted this other guy, whether it's Trey Johnson or Derek Queen or Con Knipple, or if you want to draft a center because you don't believe in Joel, then Kaman Malawach. Like, then you go, okay, that is someone we could still have a lottery ticket on. But to me, the difference between 3 and 8 is very little. There are teams and scouting departments that would feel more confident in their own evaluations and go, no, we do have to go up and get this guy. And feeling the pressure of, Brooklyn dropped, right? Brooklyn drops to 8. That sucks for them. New Orleans drops. That sucks for them. If they feel the pressure of, we just got to go get somebody that we can build around, and they feel a little bit desperate, then that's the time you can take advantage of them.
The other positive to the trade down scenario, and I know you will say this doesn't matter to an extent, but I think it matters in a way more than fans. I think it matters in team building as well, is if you take Ace Bailey, if you take somebody at 9 and that guy's playing 12 minutes a game, everything's fine. If you take Ace Bailey at 3 and he's getting less minutes than Justin Edwards, which I think is actually a realistic thing to think in the beginning, then everything's weird. And then Ace Bailey's getting asked every press availability about his minutes, and Nick Nurse is getting asked about his minutes. And even if the team is, 7-3, there's this big elephant in the room about the number 3 pick barely playing. And the other thing about Ace Bailey too, is that if this thing does work out, it seems based on every evaluation I've read that if it works out, it's going to work out in 4 years. Like it's not the odds of him shocking us this year on a good team seems unlikely to me. So I think
not to say that he couldn't be if things work out. If you're positive on Ace Bailey, if you're higher on him than I am, you probably believe, he can contribute right now as like a 8th or 9th guy, the way that like Jarris Walker sometimes plays in Indiana and shows flashes, but he's, you want to play him, put him in the rotation so he works through those mistakes. And sometimes he'll get hot and win you a game. And sometimes he'll be cold and he'll play 6 minutes and you can't play him right now. And he's not locked in. I think if you're an Ace Bailey guy, you believe that there's some level of like, can contribute now a little bit to a team that is, has aspirations of winning.
Sure. So speaking of trades, we're getting a lot of trade emails, a lot of trade voicemails. I'm going to present a couple of them here just to give an idea of what they look like. And just be honest that I'm going to be pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not going to take all the trade emails moving forward. Yeah, sure. Because they're a little bit crazy. So here's the first one, and we got this one a bunch. This is from Retta from Melbourne, from Australia. What are your thoughts on packaging 3 and Paul George to Utah for 5 and Lauri Markkanen? Like, okay, there's no world in which the Utah Jazz are taking Paul George, giving you Lauri Markkanen, and doing it all to move up from 5 to 3.
Probably not.
Now, is there a world in which you could trade 3 and Paul George and throw a Clippers pick in and then you get Lauri Markkanen? Okay, but there's no way the Jazz are doing that to move up 2 spots. So, and then speaking of, now maybe you'll disagree on this one, but this is like the sort of Cam Johnson trade I've seen. We got this from Jason. We trade 3 and 35 and for salary, Drummond, Gordon, Oubre. And we get back Cam Johnson, 8 and 19 and a Knicks first rounder. Like, I don't think the Nets are trading Cam Johnson to move up from 8 to 5 and then giving us picks on top of it.
It'd probably be Cam 8 and 3. I'm sure that there would be quibbling about it, but I think
I think we would have to give another pick back. Like, I don't think they're just giving Cam Johnson to move up 5 spots.
They might. I mean, I don't think, he signed 2 years left. He is a role player. They don't have anyone to build around. Maybe they believe in Cam's got a couple, 2 more years. Yeah. This year, and this coming year and the year after. And he's a nice player, but he's a role player to a team that doesn't need role players yet. If they think that if they fall in love with somebody at 3, jumping from 8 to 3, trading a role player like that, I think is not ridiculous whatsoever.
Okay. So to wrap it up, we talked about in the last pod, we talked about Ace Bailey, we talked about Dylan Harper, we talked about Cooper Flagg, ad nauseum, talked about Trey Johnson. I wanted to get your quick thoughts on 5 other guys that seem like there's not a ton of consensus, but this seems like the next 5 guys. You talked about this guy briefly, Jeremiah Fears. What do you think of him?
I mean, really fun player, really dynamic with the ball in his hands, super young. Played at Oklahoma and kind of took over for it was Duke Miles that he was like kind of just took this, like stole the point guard role from. They didn't expect him to be that good right away. And then Duke Miles ended up transferring. And he's just paint touches, gets to the rim, gets downhill, super fast with the ball in his hands. Not a great shooter right now. Pretty small, both height and frame. I think he's gonna be a nice player. I get a little bit of to me, and this was in a positive way, but he didn't end up working out. Part of that was injuries. Part of that was it's just hard to make it as a small guard. Kyra Lewis Jr.
I
from
remember
a few
him.
years ago.
I feel like he was on a YouTube big board. I feel
Yeah,
like
he was great. I mean, he was great at Alabama. He's so fast with the ball in his hands. I think Fears plays a little bit bigger than he did, and a little more like vertical athleticism and stuff. But he's young. He's going to fill out. I think he's going to be a nice player. But he's also a project, and I think not someone that a Sixers team with Maxey and McCain should or would take.
Okay, non-projecty is Con Knipple, who seems more ready to play. What do you think of him?
Knipple's great, dude. He's a really, really good player. He was so solid at Duke. Obviously, Cooper Flagg is the reason that they were as good as they were. But Knipple being as ready-made at that age as he was, I mean, 6'7", really thick frame, plays hard, moves really well offensively, is an excellent shooter, is not like a great ball handler, but like certainly can get places with his handle. And finishes nicely around the rim to be like not to have the label of like not that athletic, but also he shot friggin' 57% on twos and 41% on threes and 91% at the line. Like he's a legit shooter and a finisher at three levels. Not vertical that much, but you kind of look at him and go, this is like, do you like squint and see Devin Booker? Like Devin Booker did not have a good freshman season at Kentucky, was sort of like a little bit removed. I don't think Knipple has the athleticism or the like one-on-one style that Booker had, but I think he's going to be a really, really high level role player, maybe like a Bogdan Bogdanovic type.
By the way, is it more like Cam Johnson than it is like Devin Booker? Maybe Cam Johnson's a little taller, you know?
It could be Cam. I think yeah, Cam's a little taller, probably a little bit better defensively, but I think Knipple, especially earlier on compared to Cam. You know, Cam came out when he was like 22, after 4 years, 3 at Pitt and 1 at UNC. And Knipple is a freshman. He's under 20, and I think he will be a better ball handler right away and a better like mover of the basketball than Cam was. I think he's gonna be really solid. I think he's gonna be a really solid player.
All right, two more. One,
let me just say, like at 3, I wouldn't take him because I don't think he's ever going to be above average defensively.
But at 6 or 8,
but at 6 or 7, you go like, hey, he's a good player. He would, I think, help. Like the culture of the offense would be really helped by him, both as a shooter and a mover, and like the ability to finish around the rim. Like he'd be really a helpful player.
All right, 2 more. This is Dan Olinger, and it feels like MOC's favorite guy, Derek Queen, who is feels like is like a college center, but an NBA power forward. Is that sort of the way he?
Well, it's a little tricky, right? Like, he's a 4-5. If you believe in Derek Queen, if you believe in him for the Sixers,
he's got 4.
You believe in his ability to do both. He is one of the best, like offensive big men from the perimeter, kind of all over the court that college basketball has seen in a freshman in a long time. He's a really incredible passer, a really like sick ball handler, can get places, uses physicality and handle to do it. He was a high school teammate with Cooper Flagg, and also a couple other guys that are in this draft as well. He's a good rebounder, even though he has a limited vertical. There were like sizing stuff that had him as like a Kevin Love sized player. He's really not athletic. His like wingspan stuff, like on the vertical, on the moving, on the speed, like is low, like combine wise. Like he graded out very low. If you believe in him, you go like, yeah, he didn't shoot that much, but when he did shoot, he could. But he has a hitch in his shot that becomes more pronounced when it extends out to NBA range. He's a little low motor for me, especially on defense, especially around the rim. There were times, if you believe in him as an offensive 5, he's going to be really good. He's going to be really, really good as an offensive 5. As a defensive 5.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, finish.
As a defensive 5, I think he's going to let a lot of guys score past him. The way that Jokic sometimes just like kind of watches somebody like make a layup over him without really contesting, that's going to happen with Queen a lot. He's also really old for a freshman. He turns, most of these guys in this class are 19. He turns 21 in December. So I think he's a unique player. I think he's very cool. He's gonna be fun to watch. Offensively, he will be great. I think Joel could make up for some of his deficiencies defensively, and he as like a big four would be really nice, and help with the rebounding and all that stuff. The jumper is tricky, and the lack of athleticism and the sort of hesitation. My hesitation to think he's just going to automatically be a good defender at the 4, I think it holds me back from considering him at 3 with those guys. But if you trade down to 8 or so, then I'd be excited about it.
And last one, Jace Richardson, Michigan State.
Oh, I think he's just too small. I mean, he's Jason Richardson's son, so drafting a former process Sixer kind of
Bynum. Yeah,
Jason Richardson would be funny.
Yeah,
had a dynamic freshman season at Michigan State. The way that Izzo runs his team is like nobody is like the number one guy really. He spreads it out. He's coming off the bench for most of the year, but then I think Izzo was like, all right, this is how we are going to succeed. We need to get the ball in his hands more. He's a really good outside shooter. Pretty fast with the ball in his hands. Pretty athletic, not as athletic as his dad is. I'm not really considering him at this anywhere in the top 8. I would be very surprised if they took Jace Richardson. I haven't even really considered the idea that the Sixers would go for him, even if they trade down to 8 or 10. I think Maxey McCain
little guards. We have enough
little guards. That's really where it's at. I'm not that, like, if you thought he was the best prospect in the draft, then you figure it out. But I think there's too many questions about him as what does he defend? What's his size? Is he a good enough creator for other people? He's a good shooter. I don't know. The Ringer player comps have it as like Delonte West, Kirk Heinrich, Darius Garland. To me, I see maybe more like the role that Deuce McBride plays for the Knicks. Like
only hitting shots against us,
making all of his shots. Like yeah.
All right. Mike, this is off.
The other thing is, I think it's worth bringing up Common Malawach.
The center from Duke,
who was a center out of Duke. Sort of similar to Joel in that he didn't start playing until he was into his teens, and so his feel for the game is developing. But it's impressive for someone that hasn't played that much basketball. He's huge. He is like a legitimate lob threat and rim protector. And the foul shot looks good. And there's been times if you see him in workouts, his touch on threes is like pretty impressive for someone that like really barely played basketball that much. This would be a project in the sense of he's got a lot to go, but he was very helpful on a Duke team, even in relatively limited minutes. If you want to go like Maxey McCain need this kind of player, and we don't think Joel is there, like in the podcast that we do when it's like Joel's done, Common Malawach is a possibility at 7 or 8 or something if you find a team that you want to do that with. Wouldn't be the motor concerns. It's hard to know because he just hasn't played that much basketball. But the motor concerns, like there's been times when he was played off the floor. There's a couple games when he like got very few rebounds.
Dude,
and
no more motor concerns.
Yeah.
I can't do the motor concerns thing anymore.
I agree.
I just can't.
Yeah.
I can't. I would rather. This sounds crazy, and I know we rank abilities, and ability has always been number one.
Motor is huge. That's definitely a skill.
Yeah,
there's a talent that you have if you can't do it. I'm 100% with you.
Yeah, if I'm doing like the creative player thing, and I need to take away a little bit of like skill for motor, I'm doing it at this point. Yeah.
And there are guys, we don't have to go through them now. We can keep like chipping away at them each thing. But there are guys into the mid first round, like that if they traded down a lot for like future picks or somebody that's really more interesting, I really like Carter Bryant out of Arizona. We can
Let's
talk
make
about
this
that
another
later.
pod. That's what
We'll
I'm
do
saying.
another pod.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, we off pod have to start. We should map out our pods until the draft about what we're doing, because there's so much to do, and we should have draft guy on or something. We should talk to Allinger. We should talk to MOC. So, well, Ksebe and Seth, get over here in the back, just at least to say thank you. Thank you to Adam Ksebe for selling Seth the house. That is Ksebe there. That is Seth there. Thank you, Seth, for letting me do it in your house. Seth raised the bar, said that if you use a Ricky person to sell the house, you will collect cash from a Craigslist sale.
That's it.
You do have an HVAC brother, so
you need an HVAC brother.
You need an HVAC brother. Otherwise, we will talk to you next time. Are you down with TTP?
Yeah, lick face.